Hey everybody! It's me again. Thought I would make another Bible reading video. I know you guys don't like these as much, but I think it's important to know what's in the Bible, and I try to make these as entertaining as I can, so give them a chance. Also, before I start, I want to thank Atheism TV for having me on their podcast recently, introducing me to the world. Well, formally introducing me to the world on their show. I've been hosting The Infidel, like a news show for atheists and secular-minded people. And that's cool. It's cool because I'm just reading news stories that are written for them by people, amazingly, and they're very just straight news. No editorializing. It's all just, here are the facts. Here's what's happening, and it's things that deal with religion, but it's not insulting religion or insulting religious people. It's certainly they take a critical look at the beliefs, which of course I do too. But they and I try to draw the line at insulting people, except Peter Popoff. That's different. But anyway, let's dive into Genesis 24. Okay, Abraham was now very old. And the Lord had blessed him in every way. He said to the senior servant in his household, the one in charge of all that he had. Oh, now this is interesting. A lot of times, there's a lot of slavery in the Bible. And certainly this says servant, but we can probably assume that this person is a slave. But this person is in charge of everything he has. These slaves actually have a lot of responsibility and a lot of power, even, within the household they live in. Well, at the same time, I would not condone slavery. There is an argument to be made that biblical slavery is a little different from the kind practiced in the slavery times. You know what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't. Maybe I'm talking nonsense. I'm not saying it's any better. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's interesting. And, there should be more out there about it. People should talk more about it. Get more educated. Put your hand under my thigh. What? I want you to swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not get a wife for my son. No, that you will not get a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I am living, but will go to my country and my own relatives and get a wife for my son Isaac. So the slave has sworn on Abraham's penis that he would make sure that Isaac got married one of his relatives and not one of the Canaanites. Okay then. The servant asked him, why am I touching your penis? No. The servant asked him, what is the woman? What is the woman? I need to learn to read. What if the woman is unwilling to come back with me to this land? I'm surprised that even occurred to them. I'm surprised they have any sort of concern for what the woman might want. That's interesting too. Shall I then take your son back to the country you came from? So the servant assumes that if the woman doesn't want to come, they will just leave her alone and not force her to come with them. That's really interesting. Make sure that you do not take my son back there, Abraham said. The Lord, the God of heaven, who brought me out of my father's household and my native land, and who spoke to me and promised me an oath, saying, to your offspring, then there's a footnote, but I'm going to ignore those. I will give this land. He will send an angel before you so that you can get away from my son there. If the woman is unwilling to come back to you, then you will be released from this oath of mine. Only do not take my son back there. He doesn't want his son going, he wants him going there. I wonder why that is. He wants the servant to go there and bring someone back, not Isaac to go with him. Let's see. So the servant put his hand under the thigh of his master Abraham, okay, and swore an oath to him concerning this matter. Then the servant left, taking with him 10 of his master's camels, loaded with all kinds of good things from his master. He set out for Aram Naharaim, and made his way to the town of Nahor. He had the camels kneel down near the well outside the town. It was toward evening, the time when women go out to draw water. Women go out to draw water, not men. Getting water is women's work, apparently. You know, because water's heavy, and men can't be expected to lift those heavy objects, you know. Only women are that strong. Then he prayed, Lord God of my master Abraham, make me successful today and show kindness to my master Abraham. This is also interesting. The slave actually seems to be fond of Abraham, his owner, his master. See, I am standing beside this spring, and the daughters of the town people are coming out to draw water. Yes, Yahweh can see that. Anyway, may it be, when I say to a young woman, please let down your jar that I may have a drink, and she says, drink, and I'll water your camels too, let her be the one you have chosen for your servant Isaac. By this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master. What about the whole don't put Yahweh to the test? He's totally doing that here. And whatever, why did Yahweh stop talking to people directly? You know, up until now, he's been very chatty with people. Before he had finished praying, Rebekah came out with her jar on her shoulder. She was the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah. You'd think, actually, he would go and search for someone who's definitely one of his relatives, rather than just ask for some random woman. Unless all these women in this town are related. But I don't know, it doesn't say that they are, so I don't know. But anyway, this is how he decided to do things. He decided to do it through testing Yahweh rather than through being careful. Who was the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor? Oh, the town is called Nahor, and Abraham's brother is named Nahor. So I guess they named the towns after the guy who owns everyone. The woman was very beautiful, a virgin. No man had ever slept with her. She went down to the spring, filled her jar, and came up again. No Oxford comma there? Bible. The servant hurried to meet her and said, please give me a little water from your jar. Drink, my lord, she said, and quickly lowered the jar to her hands and gave him a drink. Lowered the jar to her hands. Wasn't she already holding it in her hands? I don't know. Did she fill her hands with water to give him to drink? Because I would not want to drink water out of some stranger's hands. Anyway, after she had given him a drink, she said, I'll draw water for your camels too, until they have had enough to drink. So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough, ran back to the well to draw more water, and drew enough for all his camels. Without saying a word, the man watched her closely to learn whether or not the Lord had made his journey successful. Well, he just got the sign that he asked for, so I don't know why he's waiting any longer. But whatever. When the camels had finished drinking, the man took out a gold nose ring weighing a beka, which I guess is a unit of currency or a weight of currency, and 2 gold bracelets weighing 10 shekels. Then he asked, whose daughter are you? Please tell me, is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night? She answered him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son that Milcah bore to Nahor. And she added, we have plenty of straw and fodder, as well as room for you to spend the night. I don't think he eats straw. But anyway, she's basically saying that she is Isaac's cousin. which is exactly what this guy, whose name we don't know, this servant, unnamed servant, is looking for. Right? Then the man bowed down, Then the man bowed down and worshipped the Lord, saying, Praise be to the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not abandoned his kindness and faithfulness to my master. As for me, the Lord has led me on the journey to the house of my master's relatives. Not that this is boring or anything. The young woman ran and told her mother's household about these things. Now Rebekah had a brother named Laban, and he hurried out to the man at the spring. I imagine he probably wanted to marry Rebekah himself, being his brother-in-law, her brother-in-law. As soon as he had seen the nose ring and the bracelets on his sister's arms, and had heard Rebekah tell what the man said to her, he went out to the man and found him standing by the camels near the spring. Come, you who are blessed by the Lord, he said. Why are you standing out here? I have prepared the house and a place for the camels. Yeah, why are you standing out there? Maybe it's, maybe you can't take the woman's word for it. Like, oh, you can spend the night at my house, but she's not actually authorized to invite people. I don't know. But the people are very hospitable, which is good. So the man went to the house, and the camels were unloaded. Straw and fodder were brought to the camels, and water for him and his men to wash their feet. His men? Oh, so he brought other people with him? It never said that before. Then food was set before him, but he said, I will not eat until I have told you what I have to say. Well, you can do both. You can eat, you can talk wildly. I mean, don't talk with your mouth full, but you can eat and talk at the same time. Anyway, then tell us, Laban said. So he said, I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has blessed my master abundantly, and he has become wealthy. He has given him sheep and cattle, silver and gold, male and female servants, and camels and donkeys. That's right, he's given him people. Because you can give people to other people. My master's wife Sarah has borne him a son in her old age, and he has given him everything he owns. And my master made me swear an oath, and said, You must not get a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I live, but go to my father's family and to my own clan and get a wife for my son. Isn't that just lovely? Then I asked my master, What if the woman will not come back with me? Why is he giving him all these unnecessary details? He replied, The Lord, before whom I have walked faithfully, will send his angel with you and make your journey a success, so that you can get a wife for my son from my own clan, from my father's family. So now, if this guy doesn't give him one of his daughters to marry, he's making Yahweh out to be a liar. So this is an interesting tactic. You will be released from my oath if, when you go to my clan, they refuse to give her to you, then you will be released from my oath. Now, what does it mean to be released from my oath? Does that mean freed altogether, or just freed from this particular task? Because an oath sounds like a pretty important thing, not just, you're doing me a favor right now, so I call it an oath. But anyway, this is kind of a long chapter, so I hope you guys don't mind that. When I came to the spring today, I said, Lord, God of my master Abraham, if you will, please grant success to the journey on which I've come. See, I'm standing beside this spring. If a young woman comes out to draw water, and I say to her, please let me drink a little water from your jar, and she says to me, drink, I'll draw water for your camels too, and let her be the one the Lord has chosen for my master's son. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, yeah, he's saying he asked Yahweh for a sign, and he interpreted this particular thing as a sign, so they can't refuse him, or else it wasn't a sign, and Yahweh's not real. Which I don't think he is, but that's beside the point. Before I finished praying in my heart, Rebekah came out with her jar on her shoulder. She went down to the spring and drew water, and I said to her, please give me a drink. She quickly lowered her jar from her shoulder and said, drink, and I'll water your camels too. So I drank, and she watered the camels also. I asked her, whose daughter are you? You don't have to go through all of this. This is unnecessary. Maybe this is just the way they talked to each other back then. I don't know. But They waste so much time. She said, the daughter of Bethuel, son of Nahor, whom Milcah bore to him. So she gives him her whole family history. Then I put the ring on her in her nose, I hope it was pierced already, and the bracelet on her arms, and I bowed down and worshipped the Lord. I praised the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me on the right road to get the granddaughter of my master's brother for his son. That's a little confusing. You're going to need to draw that in the dirt to make any sense. But anyway, now if you will show kindness and faithfulness to my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, so I may know which way to turn. Laban and Bethuel answered, this is from the Lord. We can say nothing to you one way or the other. Here's Rebekah. Take her and go, and let her become the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has directed. He could have been lying. He could have easily been lying. He could have done everything he did, you know, interacting with Rebekah, and then said whatever Rebekah did was what he asked Yahweh to do, because he did it privately. Anyway, when Abraham's servant heard what they said, he bowed down to the ground before the Lord. Then the servant brought out gold and silver, jewelry, and articles of clothing, and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave costly gifts to her brother and her mother. Then he and the men who were with him ate and drank and spent the night there. Yeah, there's a lot of gift giving, which is cool. But when they got up the next morning, she said, send me on my way to my master. But her brother and her mother replied, let the young woman remain with us 10 days or so. Then you may go. 10 days or so. But he said to them, do not detain me. Now that the Lord has granted success to my journey, send me on my way that I may go to my master. Then they said, let's call the young woman and ask her about it. So they called Rebekah and asked her, will you go with this man? I will go, she said. So they sent their sister Rebekah on her way. So what was the point of that? Why is that even in the story? I know it's supposed to be a historical thing that really happened, but we know it's really just a fictional story, and that is not interesting. Maybe they put that in there to make it seem like maybe it is historical, since it doesn't make for a good story. But that's still not good. So they sent their sister Rebekah on her way, along with her nurse and Abraham's servant and his men. And the angels, don't forget the angels. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, oh, our sister, may you increase to thousands upon thousands. May your offspring possess the cities of their enemies. If you have enemies, you're not living the right way. Then Rebekah and her attendants got ready and mounted the camels and went back with the man. So the servant took Rebekah and left. Now Isaac had come from Beer Lahai Roy, beer, for he was living in the Negev. He was living in the Negev. He went out to the field one evening to meditate, and as he looked up, he saw camels approaching. Rebekah also looked up and saw Isaac. Oh, Isaac wasn't supposed to go there. He was supposed to stay behind. Oh, naughty, naughty Isaac. Should have murdered you when I had the chance. She got down from the camel and asked the servant, who is that man in the field coming to meet us? He is my master, the servant answered. So she took her veil and covered herself. Then the servant told Isaac all he had done. Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah, and he married Rebekah. What does that mean, he married Rebekah? Does that mean they had a ceremony? Or does it mean, as I suspect, he had sex with her then and there? That's what I think. So she became his wife, and he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Okay. Now that, to me, is what biblical marriage means. It means you had sex with someone, and that makes them married. They've so far not talked about having any kind of ceremony or anything like that. So that's what I think. And that's the end of Genesis 24. So I will see you guys next time for Genesis 25 or whatever video I decide to make.